Welcome to the Nest Podcast, your home for nerd entertainment and sports talk, where your hosts, Brandon and Zach, hash out what's happening in video games and sports every week. Enjoy the show!
Hey guys, what's up and welcome to another episode of the Nest Podcast. This is episode number 68, the Jaromir Jagr episode. And this podcast is presented by Sportszilla, where average Joes are the experts. I'm your host, Brandon. Joining me are two top shelf co-hosts, Zach and Justin. And guys, I want to kick tonight off with a huge shout out to the state of Tennessee, because they just had the best weekend ever.
Yes, sir.
Starting off for you, Justin, on Friday night, the Elizabethton Cyclones advanced into state playoffs. They beat the Greenville Devils for the second time this season. On to bigger and better things for them, I'm sure.
We got one more game and we're in the state. We play Nolensville at home. I'll be there Friday night, so.
Awesome. That's cool. My dad is going to be there that night too. So if you see him, throw up a big wave to him.
Oh, I'd say there'll probably be about 3,000 people. I bet I'll even see.
I know. It'll be a packed house.
Right.
I didn't even realize that they sold season tickets and stuff like that to people that aren't students or whatever.
Yeah, I've had one.
It's crazy how insane high school football is in your area. But moving on to Saturday, where we had bigger events. First off, your boy Dustin Long shocked the world whenever he knocked out Marcellus Wilder?
Yep.
Deontay Wilder's little brother, who was supposed to come in there and just destroy Dustin, but Dustin had other plans.
You know, the crazy thing is he got 10-day notice. He basically had 5 days to train. He sparred twice. Once was with my son's coach, Roy, who is a southpaw, who taught him that little punch where he knocked him out. So he sparred twice, and then he still went in there and put on a show and knocked out Wilder. It's kind of crazy to think that he was picked to be walked through, and now he's all over World Star. He's on ESPN. He's basically famous. He's already got another fight that night. They called him for another fight.
He's on the Nest Podcast. You don't get much bigger than that.
That's right. And I can have him on here anytime. Like I said, he ain't got back yet. They were on a plane today. He's supposed to be at the gym tonight, but I'm sure he wanted to see his kids and stuff like that. So
yeah, absolutely. No, that's awesome though. Yeah, we would love to have him on. Maybe we'll do a special midweek interview segment with him or something, talk about this whole experience that he's had.
We can do it.
But later,
good. I was going to say the craziest thing about that whole knockout is he's right-handed, and he saw something. He noticed that every time he would throw that little feint, that he would move over to the right. So if you didn't notice, there in that fourth round, he switched to southpaw. Mm-hmm. He set him up with that jab, and bam, it just laid him down at that point.
I'm used to watching MMA, and I see those guys switch back and forth a lot. So when he switched to southpaw, I was like, okay, he's switching to southpaw. Let's do this. I saw it. You saw it. He knew what he was doing, but Wilder did not see it. Mm-hmm. Wilder kept fighting him as if he was still standing regular.
Yeah, and he paid. He paid for it. And what's crazy is that wasn't even all his power. He basically, his body was on the right side.
Right. He didn't even put his weight into it. He just hit the right spot.
I wore that dummy bag for him, the vest, and had him hit me for about 3 or 4 rounds so he can work on his body shots. And it literally hurts me like to my bones. So I hate to know what that dude felt like.
Oh, he was hurting the next day for sure. Yeah. But later in the evening, we had an even bigger celebration because our Tennessee Volunteers are bowl eligible.
First time since 2016.
They beat the Missouri Tigers in Missouri, and I didn't get to see the game. I just got to see highlights because I was on the stream with growing up 8-bit that night. But you guys both saw the game, so I want you to kind of fill me in on what I missed.
Yeah, that was a damn good game. It was close right up until the Volunteers locked it up. But yeah, they went back and forth. Did JG looked great, which is kind of something we haven't said all year. It was just an awesome football game to watch.
JG threw for over 400 yards, and there was 3 receivers with over 100 yards, which is a Tennessee record. So this guy that we hated week 3, that we were begging for him to be kicked off the team, has won 5 straight, and now basically a hero. It's crazy.
Well, and those 5 straight, he wasn't even the starter for the bulk of them. He was coming in off the bench late in the game whenever an injury would happen or what have you. And he's earned his right to a starting job back. And he's earned the trust of the Tennessee team and the Tennessee fans. And I sent you guys a little clip of his little post-game speech or whatever. And, I was pumped up by what he had to say.
Yeah.
I told you guys to go to a certain timestamp because that's whenever he really got into it about how he had received death threats. His sister had received terrible emails and messages all season long from asshole Tennessee fans or whatever. But now he's walking on cloud 9 because he's had his whole redemption story play out, and it's been a great arc.
Yep.
Oh yeah, and you might get to watch it live. They might be going to Jacksonville, which is crazy.
That is pretty crazy. I would love to have that chance to get to go and see them live here at the bank. But they got to beat Vandy next week to really get that nod.
Do you know what bowl game that would be?
I believe it's called the Gator Bowl.
Yeah, it is the Gator Bowl. They said something if they beat Vandy, they may get into the Music City Bowl, which I also believe is in Florida too. So
I thought that was in Memphis.
The Music City Bowl?
Yeah. Or Nashville. Nashville. It's in Nashville. It's where the Titans play.
That makes more sense, yeah.
And speaking of the Titans, they're also part of this celebration of the state of Tennessee because Derrick Henry is the man. He ran all over the Jaguars again.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see the little stat line flash across the bottom of your screen that he scored 2 touchdowns within the span of 16 seconds?
That's crazy.
He broke a 70 something yard run. And then on the next play on the kickoff, the Jags fumbled it. It was recovered by the Titans. And then in the red zone, they gave it to Henry. He scored again.
Damn.
That's nuts. Fucking beast.
Tannehill looked really good too. That's got to make those Dolphins fans feel like a big bunch of assholes.
Well, I mean, they've let their whole organization just go down the toilet. They let a bunch of celebrities come in and buy up ownership stake, and they don't really have any one person at the helm. They have too many people trying to voice opinions, and this is what happens when there are too many hands in the pot.
Yep.
So they've only done it to themselves. So out of everything, I know you're not a Tennessee Titans fan, but everything this weekend seems to have gone your way, Justin, except for losing to Zach in fantasy football.
Yep.
That's the one L you've got on you right now because even the Falcons lost, but you've said that that's a good thing, so they get a better draft pick. So,
yep. Yeah, my fantasy team, they're resting. We're trying to go in the playoffs healthy.
That's fair.
We've already got it
good
locked
strategy.
Up. We got it locked up, so we're already in there. So right now we're just trying to save knees, save backs, come out with questionable statuses. We want to be healthy.
I appreciate you throwing me the bone and letting me take that W. I need it.
Not to mention Kelsey was out, and I had a bunch of other people out too, which kind of hurt.
So I was doing some fantasy math earlier today, and I saw that you play one of the toughest teams in the league next week, and I play one of the teams that's already eliminated from the playoffs next week. So if I win and you lose, I'll actually leapfrog you for a 3rd seed.
I'll probably lose. Like I said, I might not even let the quarterback play this week. Too much shit can go wrong.
Oh, you're back up?
Yeah, I might play back up. Maybe bench my running backs. I don't know. I want to be healthy going into week 1 of the playoffs.
I would laugh so hard if you really did bench your quarterback and then he ended up getting hurt in real life and you couldn't play him next week.
Yeah, that'd be
It'd
my
be like
luck.
the ultimate slap in the face. It would be just as good as getting slapped with your own helmet.
Yeah, that's my luck. But
Did you hear about that guy this week? You know, he's been still in the center of attention, him and Miles Garrett for this whole incident. Miles Garrett pulled out the race card, of course. NFL said, we don't see anything substantial. But then they only fined Rudolph $50,000 for what he did for his part. And even without a racial slur, I think it was worth more than $50,000 for him
he
trying to
started
rip
it.
rip his helmet off, trying to kick him in the balls, and then rushing after him after the fact. That's more than a $50,000 fine, in my opinion. That should have at least been suspensions, but his ass got benched anyway, so fuck him.
Yeah, I mean, if he wouldn't have done all that bullshit to Garrett, first of all, he should have took a fucking knee.
He needed to take an ass whooping, is what he needed to take.
Yeah, if he wouldn't have done all that shit, like grab Garrett the back of Garrett's helmet, trying to rip it off and then kick him, none of that other stuff would have took place.
Yep.
So
It's weird how the only thing people see and the only thing that people react to is the big highlight of Myles Garrett swinging the helmet. But I mean, he didn't just do that for no reason. He was definitely someone poked the bear, and yeah, he kind of got away with it.
it'd be different if it was Sue, like Sue, because he's had all those problems in the past. I'd be like, okay, this makes sense. Sue's an idiot. But Myles Garrett's never been in the media. He's never caused problems. This is kind of a first time. Like Zach
First
said,
offense.
he got poked, and yeah, I don't know. I think it's a little too much on Garrett's side and not enough on Rudolph's side.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we've talked about this a couple weeks in a row now, so I don't want to really harp on it, but I just think the punishment for Rudolph was kind of bullshit, but in the end, he still got benched because his play was that bad and not because of the league. So that's kind of even worse on him because he's not even good enough to keep a job. He lost his job to a no-name guy that they were talking about being a duck call champion in college.
Yeah.
So what the fuck? All right. Anyway, did you guys watch any? What games did you watch this weekend?
I didn't watch shit really.
Really? So
I watched obviously Mizzou and Tennessee, and then a little bit of Niners and Packers, but that's it, honestly.
oh, sounds like Zach had a life this weekend.
Yep.
Justin, what games did you watch?
Well, I didn't think I was going to get to watch any because Trenton's training for a fight next weekend, but he got sick. So Saturday, I basically watched football all day. I saw Pitt, Ohio State, or Penn, Ohio State.
Yeah, Ohio State won that one, right?
Oh, they spanked them.
Yeah.
It was dirty.
Penn State's super overrated.
Yeah, and but that kind of gives Ohio State that reason, like, hey, we deserve to be here. Maybe. I can't. They look good, but like I said, it was Penn State, which Penn State I think was ranked what, 8th,
9th, I believe.
9th. And of course, I didn't miss Tennessee, Mizzou. I watched a little bit of everything, man. It's kind of, I got ESPN Plus now, so I was kind of just on there going through a little bit of everything. I even watched ETSU Vanderbilt play.
I did see that on the TV and watched it for like 5 minutes.
The fact that Vandy
you
only put
texted me
up like
about it.
28. I mean, Vandy only put up like 28 on them.
Yeah.
How much did ETSU put up?
0, but still,
Okay, they didn't score.
ETSU's kind of down this year.
Well, that's what I'm asking. Like, if they would have scored any, it's like, well, they have shit defense.
Yeah. And like, they bragged about the running back at Vandy. Bro, you're playing ETSU. Come on, man.
Yep.
I think we should walk through them next year. And as far as the NFL, my internet was down for like 14 hours. Like the whole East Coast was down.
Ouch.
I wasn't down.
Yeah, you wasn't down, but like from right below us all the way up to New York, up to the eastern side of New York was out.
Oh, wow.
For just your company, I'm assuming?
Well, us and another internet company, which I'm not sure which one it was, somebody went through and cut all the fiber optics or the fiber cables. So I didn't get to watch football till like 2:30, 3 o'clock before the internet came on. So I caught a lot of the back end of the games, and I caught the Sunday night game. But of course, I watched Sports Center as I fall asleep. So
So
I've seen
yeah,
everything.
you get all the highlights.
Yeah.
I've been watching on Red Zone lately. I love watching Sunday football on Red Zone. That's my absolute favorite way to do it because
Yep.
you're in the know for pretty much everything.
Yep.
But one game that I do always try to watch is the Jags game. And it was playing at the same time as the Pats game. So those were the only two games playing in the 4 o'clock hour. So Red Zone it was because it just flipped back and forth between the two. Perfect for me.
Yep.
So I got to see the Patriots and Cowboys game. Now, to come on the podcast and to celebrate a Patriots victory would be just dumb because they are not a team that's worth celebrating except for the defense. The offense has been atrocious. They barely move the ball. They've had 2 touchdowns in the last 25 possessions, and one of those came on the result of a trick play. Not the best thing, and both of them, their drive started inside of the red zone due to a turnover or a block punt. So they're only scoring on short fields. They're not driving the ball. They're not having sustained drives. They just can't continuously move the ball. So for me to celebrate winning against the Cowboys would be pretty dumb. But what I can say is their defense is phenomenal. They came into this game against the Cowboys averaging 11 points a game. They gave up 9 to the Cowboys. The Cowboys are a team that's supposed to be high octane offense, Super Bowl contender team. Remember that from the beginning of the year?
Until they didn't
And
play
every
nobody.
year.
Yeah.
But still, you've got people on that team that are supposedly superstars. Dak, Zeke, Cooper. You want to take a guess at how many receptions Cooper had?
He's been missing.
0.
He's had like 0, yeah.
He put up a goose egg.
For the third time in his career, he was held to 0 receptions.
That's wild.
I saw somebody on ESPN said that the Cowboys have 9-2 talent and 2-9 coaching.
Yeah.
Well, and that brings me to my next, topic of discussion. The sky is falling in Dallas. Jerry Jones is frustrated with the coaching staff. They are destined to clean shop at the end of the season, if not sooner.
It should have happened 2 years ago.
Yeah,
It should have.
Say, how the hell has he stuck with old boy this fucking long? I mean, the story's no different. He's all he does is sit there on the sideline and clap.
Yeah, Jerry Jones gets friends with these people, kind of like he was with Tony Romo, and he chooses that friendship over ball. It seems like him and Garrett's always been buddy. I think that's got a lot to do with it.
Yeah. I'm sure Garrett just lets Jerry Jones do whatever he wants and get whatever player he wants. So I think Jerry might need some sort of yes man, but at the same time, you got to have somebody that knows how to coach a fucking professional football team if you're going to win games.
Mm-hmm.
I read an article not long ago that was it had quotes from Jerry Jones and Bill Belichick about a time before Bill was with the Pats and he was looking for a coaching job, and basically the Cowboys told him they weren't interested. And then he went on to coach the Patriots, and now Jerry Jones is like, man, I wish I would have had that guy.
Yeah.
But to the point of coaching, this is a team that was supposed to be good going into the season. Everybody thought that. Against teams that are over 500 this year, the Cowboys are 0-4.
Yep.
You're not going to make it to the playoffs, much less advance in the playoffs if you can't beat a winning team.
They're going to make it in the playoffs because the NFC East is garbage.
That's true.
But if you don't remember when they were like 4-0, I kept saying they ain't played nobody. And Cowboys fans are kind of like Tennessee fans. They're unrealistic to a point. You know, they were calling Super Bowl after they played the Dolphins, the Jets, the whoever. And you're like, and Jerry Jones, I think, is kind of in that realm too. He's kind of, I don't know, man. I still ain't figured out the Cowboys because every time I think I got them figured out, something crazy happens. I don't like them enough to try to figure them out. I love my boy Jason. I thought he was done, and I think he soon will be. But I don't know, man. Cowboys fans are probably worse than Patriots fans.
Yep. At least Patriots fans have rings to back up their shit talk.
Yeah.
Well, current ones. The Cowboys just keep resting on their laurels from the 90s. But unbiased reporter Rob Gronkowski weighed in on the topic of who he thought was going to be the better team last night. And he said point blank that the Cowboys were at a disadvantage because Jerry Jones coddled his team too much. Anytime it's raining or cold or anything like that in Dallas, they move all their practices indoors so they have ideal conditions. You go and they played a game in Foxborough where it was in the 30s and raining the entire game. Like Dak didn't know what to do. It was too cold, and he started the game without gloves, put gloves on, took one off, put it on the other hand. Like he kept a towel on him the whole time so that he could keep wiping his hands and drying the ball, and he just looked confused and lost. And that's why they couldn't move the ball, and they only scored 9 points.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, if every stadium was a dome, then that'd be fine. But like you said, if you got to go up to one of those stadiums that has bad weather, cold weather, and you're not used to it, you will suck, and your hands will suffer if you're a quarterback for sure.
Well, and the same thing can be said about, cold weather teams or teams that are used to that coming to a hot weather place. For example, couple years ago when the Patriots came to Jacksonville and the Jags beat the Patriots, the temperature on the field was like 105 degrees or something like that. I remember them showing the graphic that it was the hottest game that Brady had ever played in and blah, blah, blah. And they showed all kinds of graphics that show in hotter games, he does worse than in the cold weather games. Mm-hmm. So he's just more conditioned and more season in colder weather and stuff like that. But if you bring him down to the hot humidity of Florida, it fucks with him.
Yeah, that makes sense too. I feel like, especially on the football field, there's a lot of things you can do to mitigate the cold. There ain't shit you can do other than drink Gatorade to mitigate the heat.
Yeah. They throw on the big parkas and they've got the heaters and all that stuff. But you're right. When it's that hot, there's very little you can do to cool yourself off. Let's see. Talked about the woes of the Patriots enough. I can move on from them, but I do think the wide receivers getting healthy again is going to help out, but they just still need help blocking to get that running game going. You guys talked about the Packers and 49ers. You both kind of watched some of that game. Please, somebody check on Aaron Rodgers and see if he's okay today because he got beat up. Mm-hmm. He got beat up bad.
He is hurting today.
I called that, didn't I? I told you in that text.
Yeah, you did. I was hopeful that the Packers would actually win. I was rooting for them for the first 5 minutes, because I wanted the 49ers to lose because I've been saying that they haven't really played a good team. Then they played the Seahawks, lost to the Seahawks. Kind of thought that they were going to lose to the Packers too, and it would just give me a little more validity to my statement that they haven't played anybody, but turns out the 49ers are fucking real.
Yep. Defense is nasty, dude. Defense is I would honestly, I know you got stats to back up the Patriots defense. I would take the 49ers defense over the Saints.
You mean Patriots?
Yeah, the Patriots, because the Patriots, they do great defense. They got great corners, all that. The 49ers will just fucking destroy you. I mean, Rodgers was getting sacked by like 3-4 dudes like multiple times. It was insane.
Yeah, no, I know. That's why I said, check on him because he got beat up, and the best part about it is the Aaron Rodgers is so good crowd had to shut up today. I even posted something on Sportszilla, and Ryan Schmidt is a notorious Packers fan, and he usually chimes in and defends every kind of anti-Packer statement, but he was even quiet today about it.
Nope.
Got nothing to say.
When there's video footage of Aaron Rodgers eating the freaking field over and over and over, you can't say shit.
Well, and I was waiting for Aaron Rodgers to blame everybody else today. Oh, my O-line sucked. My coach wasn't calling the right plays. Because he never wants to shoulder any kind of the blame, and that's one of the reasons I can't stand him.
Yeah, it's a very strange trait of his.
And I mentioned that I watched the Jacksonville game too. They also need to clean house. We were talking about the Cowboys firing Jason Garrett and all that stuff. Doug Marrone needs to go. He's a terrible coach. Tom Coughlin probably needs to get the axe in the Jacksonville organization. They just need to start fresh.
There's a few of those teams this year. The Falcons need to do the same. They need to get rid of our front office.
Yeah, but you know what sucks is since there are so many that need to switch around like that, that's all they're going to do is just pack their bags and move to the next city. Yep. So like the Falcons front office is going to end up in Jacksonville next year or whatever, Yeah,
they're just going to shuffle around.
And nothing's going to get any better anywhere. It's just going to be another clusterfuck for a few years until they have to shuffle them again.
I wonder if sometime soon some college coaches are going to be moving up, and I can think of one in particular that would be fine for a number of NFL teams. Oklahoma's head coach Lincoln Riley. If you know anything about their squad, he's a very good coach. I mean, they dominate the Big 12 every fucking season, but that's because there's no competition in the Big 12. But he's got oh God, I don't know how many Heisman winners that just rotate through his squad. So I think it seems like he knows how to handle talented star players, if you will.
So you think he could handle the personalities that come with it and stuff?
I think that would translate pretty well into an NFL head coach. I saw an episode of Colin Cowherd's show, and he was saying that Lincoln Riley should be the next Cowboys coach. I don't know what Jerry Jones's plans are. Maybe he's just going to ride this one out, but that would work. And any other NFL team that needs a head coach, I think he could step up and at least give it a shot.
Well, and no better way than to make a big group of people hate you even more than to take an Oklahoma coach and pluck them out of there and throw them down in Dallas.
All right.
You know what? You know what's funny? I was speaking of Oklahoma. I was thinking this the other day. Alabama, first of all, will lose to Auburn next week.
100%. Auburn steamrolled this weekend.
They'll beat them. But I keep thinking about, like, what if he'd have took better care of Jalen Hurts? Like, it'd have been the same situation, but been making a run for the championship. Bad news.
Yep. But this finally knocks Alabama down a peg. They won't make the playoffs for the first time in years. And I think we predicted that on this podcast that they would not make the playoffs this yeye
Man, we did. That's a good prediction.
I don't think none of us predicted that Tua would get hurt.
No.
I honestly think if Tua wasn't hurt, then, like I said, they don't have to play the SEC championship game. So they were in there, dude. Like, they still are in there if they beat Auburn. Because they don't have to win. LSU's going to lose or Georgia's going to lose. One of those teams have to lose in the SEC championship game.
The only way I could see it is if Georgia beats LSU, then Georgia is in and LSU stays in.
Yeah,
I wouldn't put Bama in over LSU because LSU's beat Bama head to head.
I agree with that.
Georgia struggled, man. They struggled.
Oh, I know. That's not going to happen.
They struggled last week. No. LSU will win it all this year. They're sick.
Yeah.
It seems like Georgia and LSU have kind of traded places this year. I think it was last year where Georgia was just on a tear, and then eventually just didn't make it. And now that's LSU. I mean, they have just torn every team up that they have faced.
Yeah, I think
nasty.
I think LSU is the best team in the country, and I think they should go on to win the national title. And yeah, they're definitely the favorite. And one of the favorites in the NFL also comes from Louisiana, and that's the Saints. They've been playing good ball. And I don't know if y'all know this, but Michael Thomas is on a historic pace. Justin, have you been keeping track of it? Because I know he's there in your division, but freaking this guy he's on pace to break the single season receptions and receptions yard records.
Damn.
Yeah, he's a monster, dude. He's going to be like that for years to come. Yeah, they are playing good, but if you don't remember, my Falcons put a beating on them. Then they turned around and lost to Tampa Bay, so that's why I hadn't really mentioned anything about it. But yeah, I think the Saints. I don't know if they're going to win. They make it in the NFC. I think they'll be in that game, the NFC Championship game. I think. I don't know. Right now, I think the hot team is the Ravens.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Which they come on here in a few minutes or whatever.
I can't
Monday
wait.
Night Football.
Watching Lamar play, dude. Oh my God, it's like Michael Vick, but like now.
Better.
Like, yeah, like the new generation of Michael
Like
Vick.
he throws better than Mike Vick, I think.
Yeah, he just that spin move. That's something that
I can't
I've never
even
seen
see
it.
that.
I can't even say nothing about it. Like it's midfield with like 3 defenders, dude, and he that's sick. That's that's Madden moves. That's shit you do with like the circle button in Madden.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy.
And you don't even pull it off half the time in Madden.
Never.
No, not that clean. Like he didn't even get touched. Usually they'll get like touched, you know. His shit was so clean he didn't even get touched.
He looks like a legit running back with the ball, but he can stand behind the pocket and throw the shit out of it too. So
I'm assuming he was a running back in high school or something, because he used to say that. He's not. He was never a running back.
He was a quarterback.
What didn't he used to say in the beginning of the season? Not bad for a running back or something.
That's because everybody has just called him a running back.
Oh, really? Wow.
They're like, oh, he's just a glorified running back,
and he never was.
Have y'all not seen that clip of him in high school?
Oh, I have.
That move where he stops in the end zone and the guy like goes by him and he just walks in. Oh my God, he was sick in high school too.
Yeah, I mean, all these guys that are in the NFL were sick in high school.
Sure,
but not like him.
not like him, obviously. But I mean, look at Jason when he was playing there in Elizabethton.
Yeah.
It was a man playing with boys, and that's pretty much how it is with all these guys. You can spot them, especially if they're from small, middle of nowhere places. It's like, oh, that guy stands out.
Yep.
Dwayne Haskins got his first win. Wasn't on the field to celebrate it.
I saw that.
Got his first win, but they had to send the backup in to do the victory formation and take the knee because he was too busy taking selfies with the Redskins fans.
Yeah, that was funny. He seemed to get real emotional about that.
I mean, it was probably a big deal for him. His first win, first time leading the team to victory in the pros. He had a good game.
Yeah,
he looked really good. Yeah, he looked really, really good.
I still don't know what to think about that guy. I was real high up on him before the draft, and when he did that whole smirking blah 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 thing when they didn't pick him at where he thought he should be chosen, that really turned me off. And a lot of people were saying he's got a chip on his shoulder and this, that, and the other. I kind of just thought it was a little childish, and he was jealous. I don't know. He's on a dog shit team, so it's kind of hard to tell whether or not he's talented or not.
Well, another real popular quarterback kind of did the same thing whenever he was drafted. If you remember, Aaron Rodgers, when he was drafted by the Packers, slipped to like 27th or something like that. He was somewhere in the 20th, still first round, but he thought for sure that the 49ers were going to draft him. And when the 49ers picked Alex Smith, it showed Rodgers, and he kind of did one of those like what the fuck like faces or whatever, and they asked him afterwards, are you sorry that you didn't get drafted by the 49ers? And he said, not as sorry as they're going to be for not drafting me. So I mean, he's not the first to do something like that. He's not the first asshole in the league, I guess, as you could say. Yeah. But he's also on a shittier team than the Packers.
Right. I get it to an extent. Like, you want to prove people wrong and you want to show them what you're really made of and whatever. But I mean, at the end of the day, you're the 20 whatever guy to be picked to play football out of how many ever hundreds of people that are picked. So that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he was in the teens, actually, like 16 or something, though. But that even drives it home even more. Like you're even better than the 20th guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's got a chip on his shoulder. Who knows if it'll ever be if he'll ever come to his own there in Washington and his talents will mature. I just don't think the Redskins are the organization that can really develop a young quarterback.
Yeah, I don't
or
think
a young player at all, really.
Yeah, if I were him, I'd be trying to get out of there as soon as possible. I would never let them franchise me.
They don't have anybody to show him how to be a quarterback. They don't have no veteran in the locker room, no nothing.
And even their management and front office are crap. I mean, we talked about it a few weeks ago with the guy that returned with cancer and how they treated him and handled his situation.
Yeah, that's Trent Williams, right?
That's right. Yeah, I knew it was Trent. I couldn't think of his last name off the top of my head, though.
Yeah, and that was something that no one ever really talked about, or I guess knew about until he spoke on it, and that's a bad look for an organization for sure.
Yeah, I don't have any faith in them to be able to guide Haskins' career.
Yep,
they're out to cover their own asses. They're not out to better their players. Anyway, the Matt Stafford's injury in Detroit seems to have gotten more serious. Maybe not so much his injury, but the situation and the state of the team. Did you guys see the news today that the Detroit Lions reached out and tried to sign quarterback Josh Johnson?
Yeah, he's a good quarterback, man.
He's a good quarterback. I'll give him that.
Better than what they got.
Better than what they got. But Josh Johnson is the starting quarterback of the XFL's LA Wildcats. And he said, nah, I'm good.
That's hilarious.
I don't know. Stafford's killing my fantasy team, but this is what I know about Stafford. He's got to be one of the top 2 toughest quarterbacks in the NFL. Until this year, he hadn't missed a single game. He's even threw a touchdown pass to win a game with dislocated shoulders. He's been beat up. So the fact that he's not in there, it's serious because he would be that guy that would go play with one arm or whatever he had to do. I hope he comes back. Like I said, I'm resting him. Hopefully he'll be better by playoff time.
It's not looking good. He's got some crazy back injury.
I don't have a quarterback. That's what's killing my fantasy. That's why I've lost the last few games.
It seems like he's probably going to be placed on IR and the season will be done and possibly career done.
Yeah, he might do the Andrew Luck. Peace out.
Yeah, that's what I would do if I were him. Fuck it. But I mentioned all that about Josh Johnson and all of that stuff to say the Lions are very desperate at the quarterback position. There's a quarterback that's very desperate to try to get into the league.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm getting at here?
Yep. Have you guys heard that since Kaepernick's little practice whatever thing that 0 teams have contacted him?
It's because the way he handled it, dude. Atlanta offered him a spot to do it. He caused his own spot just so he could have the media attention and to go off and cry like a little bitch after the tryout. He handled that completely wrong.
It was a huge publicity stunt that didn't work out in his favor.
No, if he would have done it the way he's supposed to, went to the Atlanta's field, threw the ball, shut his damn mouth, he'd be in the NFL right now.
Yeah, I agree. I think the post conference whatever thing he did where he was like, I can't remember what he was even saying, but it was just basically bitching about the NFL not picking him up. If he would have not done that, I think his chances of being on a team right now would be way higher.
Mm-hmm.
Just show him what you can do and leave the rest up to the teams to sign you.
Yep. What do you think, B?
I think the Detroit Lions should sign Colin Kaepernick.
I do too, but I don't think anyone's going to touch him because they don't want to deal with all that.
This is the way I see it. They invited him back because they thought that shit was over. They thought that everybody got past that. And then for him to bring it right back up the first time he's in front of a camera, that proved that he's not past that. So therefore they won't pick him. They don't, like Zach said, they won't want to touch him. He wants to be that franchise that has that negativity in the locker room and all that other shit.
If I'm the Detroit Lions, I do. Because one, they're not selling tickets to their games anyway. The Lions and whoever they played this week, who did the Lions play?
I don't know. The Chargers don't sell tickets either.
I'll look. Go on.
I know, like I know it was the Lions and whoever they played, and tickets were $5, and they still couldn't sell out. So that tells me you're already not packing the house. You're already not making a ton on your attendance. Go ahead, Zach.
They lost to the Redskins.
So yeah, it was the Lions and the Redskins, and tickets were $5, and nobody wanted to see that trash. So, and that's why Haskins looked good, because he was playing the fucking Lions.
Right.
Why not bring in somebody who is a spark plug, who would get an interest, who would create a buzz? And maybe that would create more people coming to your games.
Yeah, I've thought that about teams who are just trash and have a small market, like the Bengals. Those teams that literally are going to lose for probably years to come, that don't have a big market. I'm surprised one of them hasn't just said, you know what, fuck it, we'll bite the bullet and we'll take Kaepernick and we'll just roll the dice and see what happens. Honestly, if you're one of those shit teams, it's a win-win situation. If you give him a chance and he sucks, you can say, well, we gave him a chance. We brought him on. He couldn't do it. Then, I mean, what are you going to do? Cut him? So back to square one.
Do the Pats look really bad for signing Antonio Brown for a week and then cutting him when his bullshit got crazy? No. They look like a team that took a chance on a great player.
If you remember when they did sign Antonio Brown, it was pandemonium in the sports world. You know, we
were pretty calm.
They just secured their next Super Bowl ring, this, that, and the other. They've got Josh Gordon, they've got Antonio Brown, they got Edelman, this, that, and the other. And he looked fine. He got a touchdown and whatever else. And then when he started doing his antics, they let him go, and we were like, oh, okay, well, that figures.
Man, you just reminded me. At one point this season, the Pats had Josh Gordon, Antonio Brown, and Julian Edelman. Now they have Edelman, N'Keal Harry, a rookie that just came off of injury, and Jacoby Myers, an undrafted rookie. She's hurt.
Yeah.
So, man, how things have changed.
Yep.
But I think Kaepernick should be in the league, and I think he should be in Detroit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why the team wouldn't do it, other than what we stated. They just don't want to deal with the drama. I don't know.
You offer Kaepernick a contract for X amount of dollars. You take another amount of dollars, and you hire the best publicist PR firm that you can to represent your team and to make sure that all that crazy drama and all that stuff is kept away from the team.
Kaepernick seems like one of those dudes who's kind of like OBJ and kind of like Baker, who's trying to build his own brand, and he's using the NFL as a platform. But I mean, that doesn't work if you don't play on a team. So I think he should have shut his mouth to get on a team, and then whatever happens after that happens. You know, I mean, he's going to do whatever he's going to do, but he buried himself with that little post workout rant he went on.
And it's unfortunate because he really didn't look that terrible throwing the football.
Yeah,
and he wasn't elite. He wasn't spot on, but he was passable for an NFL quarterback. Better than some that are on rosters.
Yep.
I mean, of course. And they said a lot of the teams didn't even come because they planned on going to the Atlanta thing, and they got pissed off when he made his own decision to move.
And you can't blame them. You can't blame them for that.
So probably 7 teams didn't even see him throw and didn't give a shit.
You're probably right. My whole point was that if the Detroit Lions are trying to take a quarterback from the XFL, then they should sign Colin Kaepernick. Plain and simple. If you're that desperate that you're fishing in the pool of another league of guys that weren't good enough to be in your league, then you obviously have a dire need at the position. Go get the fucking guy who's sitting there ready to play.
Oh, I understand where you're coming from, but at the same time, it's a business. And
he's tainted meat at this point. He will not get picked up.
It's like, say you own a convenience store. You want the one that cusses everybody out but gets shit done, or do you want the one that smiles and everybody enjoys to come see? You know what I mean?
I don't know. I'm not like the guy that gets shit done, but I'm kind of crazy like that.
Well, I mean, if you're the dumpster fire that is the Detroit Lions, you should be used to the guy that's cussing you out.
That's it.
True.
Anyway, moving on into the clearing of the benches, I've got a few other little notes that I just wanted to run by you guys. In baseball news, the New York Yankees finally released Jacoby Ellsbury. That's not a name that a lot of fans have heard much of in recent years, but it's a guy that I watched for several years because he was a member of the Red Sox. And then he immediately tucked tail and ran to the Yankees in free agency because they offered him a big payday. So the fact that they released him after paying him for 6 years of doing jack shit is hilarious to me. They signed Jacoby on a 7-year, $153 million contract. During that time, he hit 39 home runs. Okay.
Wow. 7 years.
For the life of his contract, he hit 39 home runs in New York. In 2011, for the Boston Red Sox, he hit 32 home runs. Take that, New York.
That's the classic baseball story of dude gets big old contract and just fucking shits his pants and sleeps on the bench.
Yeah. He initially went on the disabled list, injured list, whatever you would call it, back in 2017 with a concussion. He never came off the list. He had the concussion, and then he had a right oblique strain, and then he had a left hip injury that had to require a surgery, and then, just one thing after another, and he's never been able to make it back on the field. Just always hurt.
We have a word for that in the military. It's malingering.
And he malingered his way to $153 million. But the Yankees are trying to recoup like 26 of it. I don't know how, but they're trying to get the MLB to basically credit them back $26 million. Something about he saw a doctor that was outside of their scope of team doctors, and they're just trying to say that he violated the terms of his contract and shit, but whatever. That's neither here nor there. I just kind of wanted to laugh at him for a second because fuck you, Ellsbury.
That is hilarious.
And since the last time we all last spoke, Floyd Mayweather retired from the sport of boxing. And then 2 days later, he unretired and said that he had something in the works with Dana White.
He's a fucking idiot.
I knew Justin was going to be the biggest fan and biggest supporter of this.
That dude just doesn't know how to fucking retire and spend all the damn money he has earned.
He
But
does not.
He has a strip club, right? And he's making almost $1 million a day in his strip club. Sit back and enjoy yourself and chill out, dude. He's gonna lose because he ain't gonna win in the UFC. Period. I don't give a fuck who he is. They're gonna take him down and then they're gonna beat the shit out of him. Why would you want to tarnish your 51-0 record? I don't understand it.
And he's like in 40s now, isn't he?
Oh, he's old as shit. Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely in his 40s, probably mid 40s by now. But yeah, I don't think he's going to be in a full-on MMA match or anything like that. I think he might do a little boxing exhibition inside of a UFC cage. I could see something like that happening. But I really hope that they don't do some kind of crazy gimmicky shit again to where it's like a Conor McGregor or anybody else that's on the UFC roster doing a crossover. If you're going to have a boxing exhibition at a UFC match, let two boxers get out there and box.
If he's going to do anything, he needs to come out of retirement and fight Pacquiao again. That fight was awesome the first time. They're both old. Pacquiao just beat the shit out of Porter, which shocked everybody because Porter's in his prime. That should be the only reason he would want to come out of retirement.
But that's the last reason that he would want to come out of retirement.
Because Pacquiao beat his ass right now.
He only wants to come out of retirement so that he can make more easy money. And he knows that there are tons and tons of people that are stupid enough to pay hundreds of dollars to watch him on pay-per-view.
Yep. They're gonna wear UFC gloves and box or some dumb bullshit like that.
We were talking about that a little bit on the Locker Room Talk podcast that I was on last Friday. And they said pretty much the same thing, that it would be put on the 4-ounce gloves and do little boxing exhibitions and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
We've only had 5 deaths this year. Let's get one of the greatest boxers in the world to put on 4-ounce gloves and see if he can fucking kill somebody.
Well, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, huh?
I don't know if you know, but Floyd Mayweather has very brittle hands because of years and years of boxing, and he's broken his hands a lot. You can kind of tell if you ever see him barehanded. They're all mangled and shit. So with 4-ounce gloves on, if you hit somebody on the forehead or somewhere real hard, he's gonna break his fucking hand. I mean, I don't understand what are you gonna do? Make $50 million, $100 million, and then what? Like, how much fucking money do you need?
Make $100 million and put a cast on that bitch.
Yeah, it's either that though, or he could literally kill somebody.
You're right. No, you're spot on with that because, like you said, boxing has had 5 deaths this year.
And yes,
and that's with the
10-ounce gloves.
Is it 10? I was gonna say 14, but that sounded too big.
10-ounce, yeah.
10 ounce. So you take 6 ounces of padding out of that thing and let them go with that.
Oof. Huge. Just like, Trenton trains in a 14-ounce.
Mm-hmm.
Just going from 14, he fights in the 10 too. Just going down that few ounces is a huge difference. Like, you wouldn't think that that's a big difference. That's a difference between one punch hurting and one punch knocking you out. Same punch. Yeah, 4-ounce gloves against Mayweather, as fast as he is, that's danger. That's something. That's just not smart.
Imagine somebody like Mike Tyson putting on those type of gloves and punching somebody.
One hit would kill
somebody.
Somebody.
Killed 3 people in his career.
Oh yeah, easily. Like that punch that Devontae Wilder landed on Ortiz, that straight right that knocked Ortiz out. That would, if it had been 4-ounce gloves, Ortiz would be dead right now.
Yeah, snap jaw.
Yeah.
Which
same with that hook. Dustin Long hook. Ooh. Stick that one in there one more time.
Yeah, Dustin's my age. We grew up together. He went to Happy Valley though, but I'm 37. I can't even get out of bed. And the fact that he's still throwing one-hitter quitters like that,
good for him. Yeah, good. I was happy as hell for him. I don't even know the guy.
Yeah. Well, I told you guys going into that he was kind of picked to be a walkthrough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you sure did. You told us, you were like, hey, this is my boy. He was picked to lose this fight. You should watch him win.
I didn't expect it to go that way, though. Honestly, God, I didn't.
Ooh.
Yeah, and he wasn't really doing a whole hell of a lot before that. He was just kind of, feeling Wilder out. And
well, in the third round, when he first went southpaw for like 2 punches, I saw what he saw. because I watch him so much. I was like, oh shit, he sees it. In that fourth round, he went back to southpaw and he kept doing that little feint before he'd throw the jab. Then I saw him go body, face, and I knew what he was setting up, dude. I mean, it was like I've seen it 100 times over, but usually it's not that damn clean. I mean, that was, it was clean.
Yeah, and Wilder kind of leaned right into it. So,
Jesus Christ.
what did you want to talk about? The other Wilder fight?
Yeah, the real Wilder fight.
Yeah, dude, that straight right was nasty.
Yeah. And
Jesus.
what's funny is a lot of people, I didn't watch the original Ortiz Wilder fight, but a lot of people were saying that Ortiz put the screws.
Yeah, Ortiz beat his ass.
Yeah, and didn't have the same outcome this time.
The first fight, Ortiz beat the shit out of him the whole fight. Wilder threw a crazy one of those wild ass punches he throws, and caught him and knocked him out. So this time, Wilder, it was a completely different fight. He looked good. He wasn't throwing wild punches, and I swear that after watching him throw that straight right, that's a hard punch to knock somebody out with. I think I can honestly say that he's got more power, more knockout power than Tyson.
Ooh. I mean, he sent Ortiz to the fucking moon, and like you said, with a straight right, that's a punch that everyone takes.
Mm-hmm. That's tough.
Yeah,
his whole face got smashed in, man. It was nasty. It was crazy.
Yeah, like you said, with 4-ounce gloves, he's probably got a hole in his face.
He's dead. Yeah, he's dead.
Yeah. It seems like Wilder is a fighter that has grown a lot. Granted, I haven't seen him for an extended period of time, but from what you said, he was wild in the first Ortiz fight, and he's toned it down per se and gotten smarter. And if he stays on this train, he's going to be a bad man for several years to come in the heavyweight division, which historically is the most exciting division in boxing. And I feel like we haven't talked about boxing as a sports community for a long time, kind of because MMA took over that whole genre. But I think it's awesome to have a straight killer knockout artist at a heavyweight.
See, he's very unorthodox, and he still is. That's just how he fights. Like anything that you would teach a kid or somebody that's coming to boxing, he does everything the wrong way. But, it works for him. But when he fought Tyson Fury's very technical, very fast on his feet, does everything the right way. And he saw that those wild punches wasn't knocking Fury out, even though he technically did, and Fury woke up like he was coming from the dead. But after that fight with Fury, I think he really had to go back to the drawing board and say, this wild style of fighting ain't going to cut it no more. Very rarely does he throw straight rights like he did. I mean, he came right down the pipe with it. That wasn't his. I think that's why it caught Ortiz, because Ortiz ain't expecting that kind of punch. But the reason, you talk about how boxing, the reason so is because the heavyweight champion's been over in England or UK, or there hasn't been a real heavyweight champion until Wilder. Like, I think Tyson might be the one before that. Like, even Anthony Joshua, he's from the UK.
Yeah, and if you follow fighting, you know who he is. But the mainstream people that only buy the fights that they know the person, they don't know who he is.
Mm-mm. And that's going to be, that fight's coming up in 2 weeks.
Who's he fighting?
Ortiz again. Joshua too.
He's fighting 2 weeks after that?
No, not that Ortiz. Well, not Ortiz, but the Mexican guy that knocked him out the last fight.
He's Andy Ruiz.
Ruiz, yes, Ruiz.
Big old chunker.
Yeah, too.
Okay.
He's trying to get his belt back.
Yeah, I think Ruiz will beat him again. Ruiz lost a lot of weight. He looks even better now.
Oh, he's taking it serious now. He's like, I'm the champ. I gotta defend this shit now.
He got
good for him.
That money. Yeah.
Yeah, good for him. Speaking of money, that's a perfect segue into the last thing that I wanted to get off my chest this week. The NCAA fucked another kid this week. Did you hear about the kid from Memphis that got absolutely screwed over by NCAA? His mom was trying to move, accepted some kind of monetary payment or whatever from the head coach, Penny Hardaway, and it's leaked out to the NCAA, and now this kid is suspended until mid-January and has to pay a huge fine. So a college basketball player, a college kid that his mom already didn't have money, has to come up with the money to pay a huge fucking fine.
Yeah. The story is that Penny Hardaway paid for their move.
Right.
And somehow that's not allowed in the NCAA, and it's this kid's fault.
Yeah, and then Penny Hardaway coached the kid in summer ball. So he was friends with that family. So he did it as a friendship thing.
Not as hey, recruit, come to my college and play basketball here or whatever.
Yeah, and Penny and that kid would have went there anyway because he's going to play for who coached him. If my head coach moved up to the NCAA, I don't give a shit where he played. That's where I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's kind of stupid. And where in the hell is he going to get? Like you said, he's got to give it to a charity. But where's he going to get that money to give it to a charity?
Yeah, I mean, they make fucking money.
No, and I'm sure some big time basketball player, like a LeBron James or one of those guys, will probably quietly pay that, to the charity or whatever for this kid, because that wouldn't be illegal. It would just be them paying it on his behalf. But it's still bullshit that would have to happen.
What happens if he doesn't pay this fine? Is he just not allowed to play or something?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that his suspension would just be extended until he did pay it,
No, they said he has until his last game of his career to pay it. But that just means, like, if he's wanting to go pro this year and he didn't have the money, he's got to come back to school. If he didn't have the money his second year, he's got to come back to school, and vice versa.
And that's something stupid too. I mean, I don't know. I don't even want to get into the how stupid NCAA is with all this shit, but
I think in a couple of years it'll be gone.
They just passed that whole resolution and all that shit where athletes could get paid for their likeness and all that stuff, and then they're still levying like these kind of fines and punishments. Like, it's bullshit, man.
Yeah. I mean, they'll squeeze that lemon until they get every fucking drop out of it, because once it's dried up, they're not going to be able to make it as much money as they've been all these years.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm pretty much out of shit to talk about now, guys. If you have anything, go ahead.
I'm good.
I did read something funny just now. I was looking at my phone. It said that, I always talk about how Atlanta's winning for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
It just said that now they cannot win the NFC South. The only way Atlanta can make the playoffs is if Green Bay loses every one of their games and Atlanta wins every one of their games.
Uh-oh. Got to cheer for the Falcons to win and the Pack to lose.
No, we just need to start losing and get a top 5 pick and rebuild.
Yeah, well, good luck with that. Anyway, thanks to everybody that tuned in and watched the stream that I was on with Growing Up 8-Bit. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was a good.
Yeah, thanks for watching, Zach. I know you tuned in and commented for a little bit.
I tuned in for a minute.
Yeah, Justin dropped a comment in there. And all in all, we had almost 1,000 views while we were live, which is pretty good from what he says. And we had such a good time and a fun time doing it that we're going to do it again this week, except with a different video game. It's going to be WCW versus NWO World Tour. A lot of people were commenting and asking us for that one when we were streaming live. So we're going to give the people what they want this week too. And also shout out to Locker Room Talk for having me on their show this past Friday. We are going to have Wallow back on here soon. And I know you're still trying to get your little hunting episode put together for you and Chris or whatever.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can get all that stuff to come together soon, and we can keep delivering fresh new content for all of the fans of the Nest podcast. But we will always be here every Monday night to bring you a football recap and our general thoughts of the weekend sports. So we appreciate you listening. Thanks for the download. We'll see you next week. Peace.
Stay connected with Brandon and Zach on Facebook and Instagram at The Nest Podcast. And tune in next week for a brand new episode. And thanks for listening.